CBS Sports welcomes you to the following presentation of the National Football League.
Well, back here in Indianapolis, there's Bill O'Brien. His team has lost 5 consecutive games. He led the Texans to 2 AFC titles and 1 playoff victory. He thought he was going to lead them to a 3rd AFC title, or at least a postseason appearance. Chuck Pagano's team has lost 6 consecutive games. He had great perspective when we met him on Friday. He said he owes the Indianapolis community so much for what they have done to him. He obviously has been without Andrew Luck, who came back to the States after being out since November 2nd in the Netherlands getting treatments.
Yeah, he said it was great to hear him. He said, you know, me here in Indianapolis, I am better, not bitter.
It's a great
and
comment.
It was a great comment. He says he's better for having been the head coach of the Colts for 6 years.
Well, that face you just saw smiling on the sidelines, Andrew Luck, is what really is going to carry this franchise moving forward. Obviously, he's a guy that they've sorely missed this year. He'll be back ready to go next year, in my opinion. No problem.
Well, Houston won the toss. They deferred, so the Colts will get it first, and they will get it with Ronald Martin deep in the end zone, and they will get it with Jacoby Brissett as the starting quarterback. Brissett, also a very likable kid. We talked to him a lot this year. He had 215 passing yards last week. It was a very good game last week. They just couldn't get in the end zone. That was a huge problem for them.
Yeah, Brissett's trying to go 3-0 against the Houston Texans. They won against this team in Week 9, and he beat them when he was quarterbacking the New England Patriots while Tom Brady was suspended. So probably some pretty good vibes for Brissett going against this team.
And this Colts team gave the Baltimore Ravens all they could handle last week as well. Ravens fighting for a playoff spot today.
It's an offset I formation with Doyle as the fullback in the backfield. And here's Frank Gore. We should see a lot of this today, and they hope they'll see a little bit more than just 1 yard. It'll be 2nd down and 9. Carlos Watkins makes the tackle. All right, let's take a look at the Colts lineup. I'll tell you, Chuck Pagano pointed out Anthony Costanzo and how well he has played over the last several weeks to be a key part moving forward. And Doyle, we mentioned him. He's a local kid, and Doyle continues to evolve as an excellent tight end for the Indianapolis Colts.
Let's go!
It'll be 2nd down and 9. Gore again, and Gore running to his right, tries to break a tackle and dives up to the 30-yard line. McKinney makes the tackle. Let's look at this Texans defense. Along the defensive line, it's a little different than what we expected, but Carlos Watkins already has 1 tackle today, and Bill O'Brien talked about him evolving. Cushing is back. He's not in the middle anymore. He's on the outside, and he said that's a little bit of an adjustment. And we talked to Jonathan Joseph, the veteran, and he likes some of the young pieces that the Texans have in this secondary. It'll be 3rd down and 4.
Good ID! Okay.
Texans showing blitz. Brissett has some time, lofts it to T.Y. Hilton, and he overthrew him. T.Y. was wide open.
You're going to see, this is a throw that Jacoby Brissett has to make. You're going to see a great job of T.Y. Hilton selling it. Obviously, it helps when Jonathan Joseph falls down. Nobody there to cover T.Y. Hilton. T.Y. Hilton was saying, Jonathan Joseph did grab onto him as he was coming out of that break. That might have thrown the timing off a little bit as well.
Braxton Miller back deep to receive. The Texans hope he can evolve even more than he has so far in his 2nd year out of Ohio State. Rigoberto Sanchez, who just got engaged this week, punts the ball away. And Miller from the 25 calls for the fair catch. So now we look at T.J. Yates, who, when we talked to him the other day, he was adamant that he has to play better. He did say the team has to play better, but he has to play better. His 10th career start, all with the Texans.
You got to and it's so important. And Steve Berline, you know this, a quarterback's got to take ownership. The players play better when a guy says, hey, it's on me. I got to play better. I know you guys are trying to help. If I make a mistake, I'll own up to it. That goes a long way in the huddle and makes a guy have a little more success than maybe he deserves.
Well, the team respects that too. When you see a guy who's not making excuses, pointing fingers, takes it on himself, even though it's a difficult situation, the teammates really respect that.
Offensive lineman in motion. That's Kyle Fuller on the right side, and they hand the ball off to Miller, and Miller bounces up to the 30-yard line before Anthony Walker makes the tackle. Let's take a look at the offensive starting lineup for the Houston Texans. You know, they've got through a couple of changes, including Slade starting today for Jeff Allen, who's out with a concussion. And from a skill standpoint, we mentioned Braxton Miller. They really want Miller and Fuller to step up with the absence of DeAndre Hopkins.
Yeah, if they can get some kind of production out of Braxton Miller today to get him confident going into the offseason, he'd be a great third receiver for this club next year.
Here's Blue, and Blue is stood up almost immediately by Al Woods and Grover Stewart's. It's a gain of maybe 2. Let's take a look at that Colts defense. A defense that's ranked 30th overall. Margus Hunt, the 5th-year defensive ends. They've been banged up at that position. One thing Chuck Pagano said is that Jamal Sheard is one of those veterans they brought in and has been a huge boost to the room. And we talked to Kenny Moore. Kenny Moore, he didn't know where he'd be at the start of this year. But he's played pretty well for the Colts. It'll be 3rd down and 3. That's Fuller in motion. Yates looking that way. Pass is complete to Fuller, and he's got a 1st down up to the 37-yard line. Kenny Moore, the rookie, makes the tackle.
Yeah, you said that one of these receivers like Fuller's got to step up. It's not step up. They got to climb up, because I'll tell you what, you lose DeAndre Hopkins, you lose a big one. That catch he made last week is just one indication of the catch he made in the last part of that game when they were getting blown out by Pittsburgh. You can't make up with that with one guy. You got to do it all together.
Up to the 37-yard line. Fuller 411 yards receiving so far this year. Blue, with his red shoes and socks, is in the backfield. And Yates to throw to the near side to Fuller again, and Fuller hangs on. And it'll be up to the 49-yard line.
Well, you see Will Fuller right there. He's a guy that really has struggled since Deshaun Watson got hurt. When Deshaun Watson and Will Fuller were on the field together, these guys were electric. You know, Will Fuller coming to this game only 26 catches, but 7 for touchdowns. That's the highest percentage of touchdowns in the NFL. This guy is a big play player, but since Deshaun Watson went down, they've not found the way to get the football to him.
Well, already 2 catches for 18 yards after that 13-yard reception. Here's Blue, and Blue trying to get to the edge with a strong stiff arm is wrapped up and taken down by Matthias Farley after a gain of 1.
Yeah, that was a play that was actually designed to go back the other direction, and Blues saw something. It's one of the things, you get the handoff and they never kind of question. They let the running back go where he goes, and that's why those guys get the football. You never second guess it, but that play was actually designed to go back to the left behind a cross block, and Blue just decided to go the other direction.
Well, he remains in the game, and by the way, Kyle Fuller is an eligible lineman once again. On 2nd down, off the play fake, Yates to throw. Yates dumps it off to Blue. That's what they usually like to do with Lamar Miller, and Blue is able to knife his way to the 38-yard line before he's taken down by Anthony Walker.
Well, when you talk about T.J. Yates, you know, last week 7 of 16, 83 yards against Pittsburgh. This is the kind of stuff that he has to be satisfied with, the completions. You make a completion, you pick up 6 or 7 yards, know where your check down guy is. Bill O'Brien be very satisfied if he just takes what's there, make a good accurate throw, make sure it's a positive play, not a negative.
Well, 3 rushes so far on this drive. They'll go along with 3 passes, and Blue again. He stood up after maybe a yard. Anthony Johnson makes the tackle.
You can see this Indianapolis Colts defense. They're going to make T.J. Yates beat him. They're going to do whatever they can do, throw as many men in the box as they need to shut down this run game. Lamar Miller, Alfred Blue, they're going to have tough yards today. T.J. Yates has got to make plays in the pass game.
Yeah, and so far he's done that, a couple of 3rd down conversions, and that's really crucial. Anybody down, that's been a key so far.
It's Blue in motion. Steven Anderson lines up on the right side of the offensive line, the tight end. On 2nd down and 9. Pockets collapsing. Yates realizes it, steps up. He's given himself some room. And Blue is to the 35-yard line. It's a gain of 4. Let's get an update. What's going on in Pittsburgh with JB?
All right, Tom, it's Boomer here. Take a look at Pittsburgh. Despite sitting a lot of their starters, including Ben Roethlisberger, this is a little reverse to Darius Hayward-Bay. He's going to take it all the way to the touchdown. They take a 7-0 lead. New England just scored as well. Remember, these two teams are still fighting for the #1 seed in the AFC. Back to you.
Well, that didn't take long.
It didn't take long at all. Thanks, Boomer. Pittsburgh clinches home field advantage with a win and a New England loss. Obviously, they're battling back and forth as far as the game goes, so one will see what the other's doing.
And Cleveland battling to not go 0-16. Boy.
Pass is deflected at the moment. Basham came in and hit T.J. Yates. It'll be 4th down.
Well, this is on Yates. They're picked up. Yates has got to know that guy's coming, and he's not picked up. So he knew it. He waited as long as he could. He just waited a half second too long, and Basham was able to affect the throw.
And T.J. Yates, he's been in this system long enough to understand, you know, when you have protections, you got to know when you're hot and when you're not hot, meaning somebody's coming unblocked. You got to get rid of that football before the hit gets to you.
Well, this will be a 52-yard field goal attempt. Leckler is the holder from the near hash mark. It's a good snap, good hold. Kick is on its way. It has plenty of length, and it is good. And the Texans strike first on top 3-0 with 8 minutes, 15 seconds to play. Not a bad start for T.J. Yates. So 3-0 Texans on top. It's their first lead since second quarter of Week 13 against Tennessee. Hey, Saturday it's an SEC showdown with Florida taking on Missouri. Then on Sunday, number 2 Michigan State collides with Ohio State in a Big Ten battle. Great NCAA basketball next weekend on CBS. We were all at the Butler-Villanova game yesterday where Butler upset the number 1 team in the country. That was an exciting atmosphere. You see the scoring drive for the Texans, 10 plays, 41 yards, and the 52-yard field goal.
It was a good kick, too, to finish off that drive. And almost we were talking in the pregame, the keys of the game were protecting the quarterback, and the Texans did a pretty good job until T.J. Yates didn't realize the extra guy was coming. Right. He almost got himself hit hard again, and he actually did. That's still a key for both teams.
Marlon Mack, Josh Ferguson back deep to receive. The ball goes into the hands of Ferguson. All right, let's take a look at our New Year's resolutions. First for the Indianapolis Colts. Finally get Andrew Luck back. They seem like they're getting close to that. Find a way to finish games. They've been outscored heavily in the fourth quarter. And don't get beat on big plays.
Well, the key to the whole thing, obviously, is the top one.
Yeah.
Andrew Luck getting him back. And I think it ends up being the best thing that could have happened for his career personally to sit out this whole season and not try to rush back and push the envelope and try and get back for his team and this organization, this head coach. I think going into next year now, there's no question that he will be 100% and healthy all the way around, ready to go for next year.
Brissett to throw on first down. He's got Gore on the outside. And Gore gets a couple yards up to the 27.
Yeah, and you talk about Andrew Luck and all he's been through. And I'll tell you what, as you see all the stuff that's gone wrong, this guy's taking a beating, but he does that because he stands in the pocket, delivers the ball, and accepts the blow. And that's kind of one of the things that's gotten him into some trouble physically, but by the same token, that's why he's an elite quarterback. I mean, the guy gets it done.
And he's played through a lot of those. He hasn't been healthy in a while. And so, you know, there's a price to pay, and I think taking the year off is going to end up being very helpful for his long term.
T.Y. Hilton on a quick toss, and Hilton only gets a couple up to the 29. Chris Ballard told us the last time we were in town for that Jacksonville game, he said, listen, we need to protect him better when he does come back, and he also needs to change the offensive scheme a little quicker with his passes too.
But he needs to come out. Yeah. And he also said that Andrew Luck has to help himself.
Right.
He has to not take some of those self-inflicted hits where he's trying to be the tough guy fighting for that extra yard when he runs it, or standing in there and taking the big hits that you really don't need to take to preserve your longevity.
3rd down and 6. Texans showing blitz. They'll pull back. Brissett pitches to the right, throws to the right, and Doyle's up to the 37-yard line. As long as he held on, Kareem Jackson was in on the coverage.
Yeah, we'll see if he did actually retain. Looked like a pretty good catch. We'll see here. Plucks it out of the air. That looks pretty good. And they get a quick snap, too, to make
smart.
sure. Yeah. But one of the things, too, and there's a lot has been read into how the Andrew Luck saga took place this season. They thought he was going to come back. He wasn't going to come back. They were going to activate him. They weren't. Then all of a sudden, he leaves the country. They put him on IR. A lot has been read into that. And I'll tell you this, as far as him, you remember what it's like to be injured. It's hard to be a part of the team when you're particularly a superstar. He can't get gas without somebody bothering him. And by leaving the country, he could focus on getting better. And that was an atmosphere, I think, that really did him well.
He also mentioned that in his press conference on Friday, that he just felt like he needed to get away. As Brissett in trouble, dumps it off to T.Y. Hilton. And Hilton up to the 43-yard line, a gain of 4.
It's been suggested that there was some sort of big conspiracy with season ticket holders, and they wanted to get people to buy season tickets because they thought Andrew would be back. None of that. I think that's ridiculous. This is a guy who wanted to play, a quarterback who wanted to come back and knew that it wasn't a smart move. And in the long term, I think the organization got it right, and so did he.
I will say he physically looks better than he looked when we saw the last time we were here. On 3rd down and 4. Brissett from the gun. Fires to the left, and he's got T.Y. Hilton. Well, they certainly want to get him involved in this first quarter, huh?
No doubt. When T.Y. Hilton is a part of the game plan and getting targeted in a ball game, good things are going to happen. And I think the combination, the confidence between Jacoby Brissett and T.Y. Hilton has improved as the season's gone along. Down numbers for T.Y. Hilton on a whole for the season, but he is starting to become more of a factor as the season comes to a close.
That's a gain of 9, 3 catches for 14 yards for Hilton. They go back to Frank Gore, and Gore is spun down in the backfield. Andre Howell is there to make the tackle. It's a loss of 2.
Yeah, this is, Frank Gore is going to be the workhorse, and they're going to bring pressure right off the edge, and it's just a run blitz to stop that run. They're going to, they don't mind having Jacoby Brissett take this game into his hands. They know Frank Gore can win games, although he's been the focal point of most defenses this year. You look at his numbers, he's only rushed for 100 yards once this season, and that was in a snowstorm in Buffalo 3 weeks ago. This is a guy that still defenses think of first when thinking of this Colts offense.
He and LaShawn McCoy had big days that day, as you would imagine. Brissett to the right side, has Jack Doyle. And Doyle, with his second reception, moves him past Dallas Clark for second most receptions by a tight end in Indianapolis in an Indianapolis season.
Quietly, this guy Doyle has had a great season. 78, 79 catches now, 78 catches now on the season, setting that record. He's a guy that's really become a security blanket for Jacoby Brissett, who, by the way, is 6 for 6 now on this drive.
That's right. And I don't think Jack Doyle is going to catch Dallas Clark's record for receptions in the season, which is 100. He'll have to have a heck of a day. Got some movement.
Jadeveon Clowney forced a reaction by the offense.
Neutral zone infraction. Defense number 90. 5-yard penalty. First down.
Gene Steratore, the referee for today's ball game. It's our first game with Gene this year.
You see Jadeveon Clowney right there at the top. He gets across the line. He's the guy that Chuck Pagano, everybody in the Colts uniform and on their sideline knows that Jadeveon Clowney is the guy that can ruin the game for this Indianapolis Colts offense.
That's Aiken in motion on 1st and 5 from just outside the 30. Gore again. And Gore keeping his feet moving. Breaks the tackle, gets down to the 4. To the 27-yard line, a gain of 4. Zach Cunningham makes the tackle.
We were at practice on Friday, and you talk about a fun guy who's got a lot of energy. This is him. He's as old a running back as you'll ever cross paths with in the NFL. I mean, you talk about 13 seasons at that spot with all of those yards behind him, and yet he's as energetic and as fun-loving and as happy to be on that field as anybody out there. And T.Y. Hilton said he has learned a lot from this guy about the little things Monday through Saturday that help you win on Sunday.
He was wearing number 21 in practice the other day. He said he was trying to channel his great years by wearing number 21, his previous number. As McKinney makes the tackle after a first down gain.
He's texting everybody 139,
That's
139. Right. That's how many yards he needs to get into some pretty elite company. I mean, you talk about this guy, and I said it in the open, he's chasing history. Some of the guys he's up in the atmosphere with are legends. And, he's right there with them. I mean, this is a guy that's really done some wonderful things. You see there Eric Dickerson, Marshall Faulk, and those are a couple of the names he's there with.
11th play of the drive for Brissett. Brissett's in trouble, and Clowney he breaks away from Clowney, but can't break away far enough because Joel Heath was there to slow him down.
Yeah, Clowney got caught up, I think, in trying initially to strip that ball out of there when he saw Jacoby Brissett with that ball down around his waist. He's trying to get that ball out, but fortunately he had a lot of support coming.
Watch Clowney. He's going to work right up around Costanzo, and that's just You know, yeah, left tackle kind of thinks he knows where the quarterback's going to be, and if there's pressure up inside, the quarterback will move. The left tackle will never know that. So Costanzo thought he had Clowney blocked, and in reality, Brissett stepped right into the sack.
Right, the other pressure forced Jacoby Brissett to step into it.
1:13 to play here in the first quarter, our first timeout.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Southwest Airlines. Low fares, no hidden fees. That's transparency. Macy's. And by Honda. Hurry into the Happy Honda Days sales event today.
But look at the top 4 leading rushers all time. Emmitt Smith, Sweetness, Barry Sanders, and Curtis Martin. And Gore is trying to become the 5th to reach 14,000 yards. He's out now. Marlon Mack is in. It'll be second down and long. Brissett to Rodgers. What a grab as he inbounds.
Yeah,
They
look
say
like he made
it
that
is.
catch. That ball was under his control. He pulled it in. What a great job of squeezing that football. I mean, look at this. Well,
I think that's a good catch.
I think it is, but
well,
it's got to be looked at. Well, it's a tough call for Bill O'Brien.
I would snap that thing so fast right now.
Well, it's a 22-yard
With what the league is
gain.
going through in this issue, I'd snap. There's a good job by Brissett.
There's Marlon Mack, and Mack is hit at the line of scrimmage, and he may have lost a yard. Let's take a look at that Rodgers catch again as Dylan Cole just made that tackle.
It's too late to change it now, so.
Because the ball does hit the ground.
I think it's good. I don't know. I think it's a good catch.
It would have been interesting to see which way that would have been.
Yeah, I mean, you can say whatever you want because we'll never be right.
It was a heck of a catch, though.
We'll never be right.
No.
So now into the red zone are the Colts, and the Colts 32nd in football, last place in red zone conversions. Texans showed blitz and then pulled back. Brissett on second down. He can run it if he chooses to. There's not much room to run it, and he is spun out of bounds by Benardrick McKinney. And that might be the final play of the first quarter as they spot it at the 11. There is a flag sitting in the end zone, though. That was in the direction of Jack Doyle and Marcus Gilchrist.
Yeah, the clock on the clock has run down.
Holding defense number 30. 5-yard penalty added to the end of the run. Automatic first down.
Now they're going to have to fix the clock here because there's no time on it, or they'll have to switch ends because Brissett was tackled in bounds. But the penalty would have stopped the clock. Now they're going to have a conversation about it.
Please reset the game clock to 9 seconds. Then the clock will start on my ready for play.
All right, so that's
reset to 9 seconds, please.
that still could be the final play of this quarter.
Yeah, the Colts are going to walk down the other end of the field. That will be the end of the first quarter.
They got to put the 9 seconds back on. Gene Steratore has to then.
Please reset the game clock to 9 seconds. Thank you.
Oh, there we go. They'll wind the final 9 seconds. And Jacoby Brissett will just walk over to Chuck Pagano and then head back to the south end of the stadium.
Run it up so they can run it off.
This is the end of the first
Texans on top 3-0, but the Colts are knocking on the door. We get set to begin the second quarter here in Indianapolis. Even with the cold temperatures outside, they'll be celebrating the race car dropping later on tonight when we hit midnight. Brissett's hoping that he'll celebrate this drive with a touchdown. 2 receivers to the outside. Now Aikens in motion. T.Y. Hilton is the man to the outside. A flag comes in. They're going to dump it off to Doyle, and Doyle will walk into the end zone. Touchdown Indianapolis for now. Jonathan Joseph is wondering if there was an illegal pick.
Offside. Defense number 56.
Nope.
Penalty is declined. The result of the play. Touchdown.
Brian Cushing was offside, so the Colts finally connect in the red zone to wrap up this drive.
Well, the hard play action got the Texans biting on that play action, and you saw Cushing, number 56. You mentioned earlier that he's playing outside linebacker. He's not used to being in that position in those situations. He is a pure inside guy. He completely got fooled by that fake, and Doyle slipped right out without him even knowing what was going on.
Well, that is the 4th touchdown reception for Doyle this year. Here's Vinatieri, who turned 45 this week, and he connects on the point after. 7-3 Indianapolis. The local guy, Jack Doyle, out of Albany State, has evolved into one of the best tight ends in the National Football League, and he gives the Colts a 7-3 lead.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by T-Mobile, America's best unlimited network. And by the Home Depot. More saving, more doing.
We took a spin around Monument Circle this week a couple of times as we get set to celebrate the new year. Let's go back to that touchdown to Jack Doyle.
Well, you're going to see Doyle lined up right here at the end of the line. This is him right here. And what's going to happen, one of these three guys is going to take Doyle. You see the hard play action. They all step up. It looked like Cushing, the way he reacted, he was supposed to hang on to Doyle as he released for that pass. Obviously did not happen.
Chris Thompson back deep to receive. He'll take it a yard up for the back of the end zone. All right, this will give us a moment to show the New Year's resolutions for the Houston Texans. And it starts with get J.J. Watt and everybody else healthy. That's huge, obviously.
Yeah, 77 different guys have suited up for the team. That's an enormous number. They've also got to build around Deshaun Watson. He showed that they could really light it up offensively, and that gives them hope for the future. They can stay away from that position in the draft, which is enormous for a lot of teams. And, of course, because of the injuries, they found out about a lot of young players. They've got some depth. They can also start to bolster it, although they don't have a draft pick until the 3rd round in this coming draft. So they're going to have to do it through free agency and get some diamonds in the rough.
Here's Alfred Blue following the block of Kyle Fuller, who was in motion, and Blue hammers his way across the 30. A gain of 6 before he's wrapped up and taken down.
You talk about how rough it's been on Bill O'Brien and this team with going through the injuries. They have, one thing that always happens, they always talk to you about it. They did find out and get pleasantly surprised by some of the guys they had to put in there because of the injuries, but they're not going to have that many draft picks. And they got to figure out, how they're going to bolster their roster without those resources.
That is Kyle Fuller, the rookie from Baylor, who is the injured Texan, and now he's up and trying to shake it off.
He has been in as an extra offensive lineman for some of their run formations. They also had him in motion early in the game as well.
And I think David Quesenberry, who was a remarkable story, number 77, is actually going to be the eligible receiver now, the eligible lineman now. There's Quesenberry.
What a great story. Inspiring.
Coming back from cancer. He hasn't played. Last week was the first time he played in an NFL game. He's been with the league for 3 years battling that cancer. There's Yates out of the gun, the handoff to Blue. And Blue is wrapped up on Matthias Farley after getting back to the line of scrimmage. Well, he was a 6th-round pick by the Texans. Quesenberry was in 2013 out of San Jose State, but missed his entire rookie season because of a foot injury. The following year in June, he was diagnosed with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. He underwent chemotherapy and other treatments for the next 3 years. In April, he was declared cancer-free and officially cleared to return to the field. And last week against the Steelers, he finally made his debut. His dad is here today, David Sr. He had a chance to catch up with Chuck Pagano before the ball game. Pagano had some great things to say about Quesenberry and how much of an influence he can now be on cancer patients. On 3rd down, Yates to throw. A flag is in as he dumps it off to Braxton Miller. Nate Hairston makes the tackle.
Yeah, this is going to be offsides on Indianapolis.
Offside. Defense number 52. That 5-yard penalty results in a 1st down.
Markevius Mingo. Well, there is Chuck Pagano talking to David Quesenberry Sr. before the game today. I don't know about you guys, but just talking to Chuck about him, it was really impressive to see, because Chuck is a cancer survivor, so he has great perspective on it, too.
And there is a bond between anybody that's gone through that kind of an experience. You could see just the emotion and the passion that Chuck Pagano had, and the respect and the joy that he had for Quesenberry to be able to come out, beat it, and be out here playing football again.
Off the play fake, Yates to throw on 1st down, dumps it off to Blue. And Blue is going to get close to the 1st down. It's a gain of 9. Son Ridgeway makes the tackle.
That's a nice job in the pocket by Yates. Had plenty of time to scan. Watch his eyes as he drops back to his right, back to his left, back to his right, and then catches Blue underneath, and that's what keeps the defense honest. The quarterback's eyes and his ability to see the whole field, the defense feels it has to defend the whole field. Even if he checks it down, it turns into a much bigger play than it otherwise would have when young quarterbacks start staring guys down.
Blue again, and Blue is not going to get the first down. He is pushed back behind the line of scrimmage. Margus Hunt was the first one there. It's a loss of 1.
Very solid up front by the Indianapolis Colts defending the run here. They weren't fooled by anything. They good job controlling that line of scrimmage. On that point you made, Steve Tasker, though, about T.J. Yates, one thing a veteran quarterback knows that's different than a younger quarterback is that the defense is going to react wherever you look. Wherever you look, you can move defensive players by using your vision, turning your head, and that creates seams. T.J. Yates did it through his natural progression right there. He creates space by just looking to both sides of the field.
3rd down and 2. Yates fires to his left, and it's incomplete. Broken up, intended for Hamilton. And now a flag comes in. Are they going to say there's pass interference?
That would be shocking.
Quincy Wilson was in on the coverage. Gene Steratore conferring with some of the other crew members.
Pass interference. Defense number 31. Spot foul. Automatic. First down.
I have to admit, just watching it naturally, I didn't think it was pass interference, but maybe there was something else the official had a better view.
You see there, Chuck Pagano asking him, what did he do? And there, I can see that.
Number 77 and number 61.
You know what it was, though? It was an inaccurate throw by T.J. Yates, and that forced Braxton Miller to be reacting back toward the football. The ball should have been thrown outside. The defensive back was breaking on the ball, and because it was thrown inside, there was contact between the two of them.
Off the play fake, Yates sets up in the pocket, fires to the right side, incomplete. Broken up at the last moments by Kenny Moore. All right, so we're seeing Hamilton on these last 2 plays. We're seeing more of Braxton Miller. We will not see Will Fuller, who is now out of this ball game with a knee injury. And he had an effect on that first drive that the Texans put points on the boards.
Yeah, and he would be, without DeAndre Hopkins today, he was going to be the focal point of this
No
passing
question.
game, without a doubt.
Hey, 26 Larry. That's mine. That's us. You're 18. He's up.
Colts showing blitz. Here they come. Yates finds it and is able to find a man for a first down. What a hit. Chris Thompson makes the reception and then is bounced down to the grounds.
This is a really good job by T.J. Yates. You're going to come with the pressure right off the edge. T.J. Yates knows he's got the quick slant route out here on the outside. He's got time to get that ball. He's got to stand in there and take the shot because he knows there's a free rusher coming, the safety coming off the edge. Nice throw and catch on that play.
Yeah, Matthias Farley was inches away from getting him, and we'll keep an eye on Thompson, who just walked off to the sidelines, another receiver for the Texans. As Blue is upended at the 35-yard line. Clayton Geathers makes the tackle.
Yeah, it's starting to be a concern even today. I know we've talked about injuries a lot, but the receiving corps, they need these guys to stay not just healthy, they need to stay eligible to play in the game. They're going to
Really?
run out of, they really literally will run out of bodies if it continues. They've lost Will Fuller, who's their number 1, as you said. Chris Thompson, Kobe Hamilton, and Braxton Miller, and you need those guys to stay in one piece.
Stevenson, the tight end, in motion. Alfred Blue to the right side. And Blue to the 31. All right, we mentioned that Thompson went off slowly, and it's probably because of this hit right here on this catch.
Yeah, that was a big boy hit right there, without a doubt. Darius Butler.
Yeah, and there's no question he got evaluated on the sidelines and has been cleared. This was this Texans team with Tom Savage and how they evaluated him in the concussion. They've changed the concussion protocol for the entire league because of what happened with Tom Savage in the Texans. So you can bet that they were minding their P's and Q's, making sure everything was copacetic with him getting back on the field.
Thompson one-on-one on the near side by himself. Yates goes to the right side, and his pass is complete to Hamilton. And Hamilton's got a first down to the 23-yard line, a gain of 8. Kenny Moore makes the tackle.
Well, TJ Yates, as we mentioned earlier, he told us that he expected more out of himself. He expected to be sharper, more focused. And he said last week against the Steelers, he second-guessed himself a few times in that game. He said he needed to be more decisive and committed to his throws. And today, he's sitting there. He's now 6 for 8, 7 for 9 on the day. He looks like he's very confident throwing that football right now.
Well, this will be the 10th play of this drive. They've had 2 long drives. The last one resulted in 3 points, and now Blue down to the 15, a gain of 8 yards.
Yeah,
Kenny Moore makes the tackle.
This is a really nice drive by the Texans for one reason. They're bringing some pressure and throwing guys in the box to stop the run and get pressure on Yates. And because of his quick release, they're hitting those quick slants. The ball's out of him. They're beating that pressure with the throw, and that's exactly what you've got to do. Yates doing a really nice job of countering what the Colts are trying to do to them defensively, and now they're down in the red zone.
Alert, 44.
That's Fuller in motion. They've got 2 linemen who are eligible receivers. Blue runs to his left and down close to the 10. I tell you, I've been impressed with Alfred Blue last week and this week.
Yeah, and it's tough today. I mean, they've got, on this last play, they got 9 guys in the box, the Colt defense. There are 9 guys down inside there, and they're going to try and run against it. And he does a nice job of picking up a first down, doing it on short yardage. And in the red zone, that's even more difficult because the defense can pack it even more. But they had 9 guys within 5 yards of the line of scrimmage, and they're still trying to run the football and getting it done. That's huge.
A first down from just outside the 11-yard line. Yates directing traffic as the quarterback with some young receivers. Looks to the right, throws to Prosh, and he's got it inside the 5, and he's bounced out close to the 2-yard line. Mingo makes the tackle. A 4th reception of the year for Jay Prosh. It's a gain of 9.
Well, the Texans pretty average in the red zone on the season, just over 50%, 23rd in the NFL. Right there, a nice job by TJ Yates finding his check down again. Now the Texans can get a first down if they get the ball inside the 1-yard line as well. So it's not a goal-to-goal situation.
No, but I'll tell you what, this is right here, I'm handing it off 5 times in a row. If you get a first down for 1 yard, just keep handing it off.
Well, Blue will get an opportunity as he gets toward the goal line, dives into the end zone, and he is in. Touchdown, Texans. It is a 2-yard plunge for Alfred Blue. It's his first touchdown of the year.
Impressive drive. It really was. They beat the pressure with quick throws, got enough out of the run game to keep the defense honest, and even though the Colts started throwing more and more guys into the box and sending guys off the edge, the Texans handled it, and Blue was able to give them enough to convert 3rd downs and stay in the game, and then Yates connecting to get him down close and handing it off for the touchdown. It's just an impressive, well-run drive.
Well, you consider the last drive where they scored 3. They had 10 plays, 5 minutes and 26 seconds. This drive was an 8-minute drive. And now the extra point to make it a 3-point game. And it is good. The Texans lead it 10-7. Alfred Blue, he's been taking on a lot of the duties in the backfield these last couple of weeks. Barrels into the end zone, and TJ Yates is loving it. Well, back here in Indianapolis, Alfred Blue had 108 yards last week against the Steelers. 8 carries, 28 yards on this drive that led to a touchdown. Yeah, he's bouncing off everybody.
He's always been, when given a chance for the Texans, for Bill O'Brien, I think he's always been a productive guy. You know, you have a tendency to sometimes get lost if you're not the featured guy, but he's a guy that whenever he's been given the opportunity, he's been very productive. As we see a little pooch kick.
And it's fumbled by the Colts and then eventually picked up at the 31-yard line. That could have been disastrous for Indianapolis. Bill O'Brien's looking into his bag of tricks for everything. It didn't work this time, but keep an eye out. Maybe next time. Coming up on the Verizon Halftime Report, join JB, Phil, Nate, Boomer, and Coach Cower for all the latest NFL scores and highlights. That's all coming up on the Verizon Halftime Report. And a little movement by the Texans. Brissett pointed it out, and the officials finally threw the flag. Now, the Watkins are done. I think both moves.
Neutral zone infraction, defense, number 92, 5-yard penalty, first down.
Brandon Dunn
You're going to see done right over the center there.
Yeah, great.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a great job.
I love the reaction by the offensive players.
But yeah, well, the offensive line reached out and touched him, and that makes the play dead. It's a perfect move.
First down at 5, little hitch by Brissett, fires, and it's deflected, incomplete, intended for Chester Rogers. All right, so that's not great, but the last drive was excellent for Brissett.
Yeah, Jacoby Brissett, nice third down conversion there to Doyle, and then good job moving around the pocket, buying time to hit T.Y. Hilton, and throws the pass over to the sideline. Nice ball to Rogers on the outside, and then to finish it up, touchdown pass. Good play action to Doyle again for the touchdown. That good solid drive by Jacoby Brissett. He looks very comfortable now after spending the last 14 and a half weeks learning this offense.
In fact, they have continued to open it up more and more for him. T.Y. Hilton told us that, and he throws it low to T.Y. It'll be third down.
That's a couple of inaccurate throws right there. The ball's coming out on time, but that first one was behind his receiver. That one was low and behind T.Y. Hilton, too. And you and I have seen these guys playing. The most underrated quality for an NFL quarterback is accuracy. You can say, yeah, they throw it to the right guy, but, man, putting it in the right spot, you can't put a price on it. It makes all the difference in the world.
Underrated by the outside world.
Right.
No doubt about it. But on the inside, football people understand ball placement, not necessarily completions, but ball placement is so important to give a chance to that player to make some extra yards after the catch.
That was Hilton in motion. Brissett in a little bit of trouble, dances away, throws on the run, and it's broken up.
Great job.
Defensive play.
Great job by Kareem Jackson.
Yep.
He followed him all the way across, stayed with him, kept away from him, and knocked it all away with his right hand. You watch all the way up here. He's going to come all the way across and follow him, and comes in, boom, right there at the sideline.
That was 2 plays in a row by Kareem Jackson. Very nice job.
He can put his hand on him as long as he doesn't pull or grab and get an advantage, and that was a great job. That was a great no call as well, too. It's so hard to cover the guys that long. That's a long play when the quarterback scrambles.
Sanchez on the punt. Miller back deep to receive. And Miller inside the 20. No fair catch. Going the wrong way. And he is spun down at the 13-yard line. Excellent coverage. T.J. Yates back to work after a 47-yard punt.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by GMC. Driven by GMC. Live like a pro. Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. And by Cricket Wireless. Something to smile about.
Yesterday at Hinkle Fieldhouse, Butler defeated #1 Villanova 101-93. They had 3 threes in their previous game against Georgetown. Yesterday, they lit it up from beyond the arc.
That was so fun storming the court with my shirt off. Awesome.
All 3 of us were there. I was calling the game with Bill Raftery. Steve was there, Tasker and Berline. As the handoff drives over the 15-yard line, there's a flag down on the field. That's Lamar Miller who made the run. Here's Gene Steratore. I joked with Gene as to why he wasn't reffing the game yesterday, because he's also a college basketball official.
Holding defense number 91. 5-yard penalty added to the end of the run. Automatic first down.
Ridgeway with the penalty.
Yeah, man.
There's Task yesterday. He was enjoying himself some popcorn.
Oh, I was plowing through it, too. I could not get enough. What an atmosphere. Hinkle, I've never been to Hinkle Fieldhouse.
It
was
great.
so fun, man. I was so hungry. I got there hungry. That's awesome. Perfect, too. I'm telling you,
extra popcorn.
I cannot tell you what I can't tell you what a cool vibe it was in that
was
place.
cool.
It was great.
It was nice. It was spectacular.
Built in
to see the
1928.
and see the home team upset the #1 team in the country was really special. It was fun.
If anybody saw the movie Hoosiers,
That's right,
Jimmy
yeah.
Chitwood
Yeah.
shot at the end. That's the arena that they filmed that. I mean, it's a great place.
Yeah, now you got me hooked. I want to start eating this popcorn.
Yeah, once you start.
Once I start, I can't stop.
start.
I'm going to set that right there for timeouts.
Yates to throw, looking long on the near side, and Braxton Miller can't get free. Quincy Wilson was in on the coverage. Well, TJ Yates has been on the mark so far today, not 8 of 12, or 8 of 11, excuse me. First 2 possessions, they had a real nice combination of passing and throwing.
And they scored a field goal in the first drive and a touchdown on the second drive. No bad plays. And TJ Yates, we talked to him, he really was putting on himself to be smart with the football, do the right things, and keep the negative plays at a minimum or eliminate it completely. He's done a good job.
Lamar Miller remains in the game. He's in motion into the backfield. Colts showing blitz. Now they pull back. The inside handoff goes to Miller, who runs up the middle. And it gets to the 25, a gain of 3.
Yeah, at this early stage of the game here in the second quarter, the Texans have only had 3 third downs and had converted 2 of them. So they're really doing well on first and second down. They're not being pushed into third and longs at all. Their run game's working. Both these clubs playing extremely well. Of course, both of them struggling with injuries and more injuries.
Oh, yeah.
The Colts also the 31st ranked team in the NFL on third down.
Yeah, there's a lot of numbers, a lot of categories where the Colts are in the 30s. That's not good in the NFL. Third down and 7 here. Yates looking to throw. Lofts it to the far sideline, and the catch is made. Chris Thompson reels it in. It'll be a first down and much more, battling against Chris Milton.
Wow, this is a nice throw. Great catch. Look at it, right over the outside low. Can't throw it any better than that, and he gets both feet down and pulls it in. That is a phenomenal catch and a great throw.
It really was, but I thought TJ Yates might have telegraphed where he was going that football early, but Darius Butler, the safety, did not make a good break on the ball to get over the top, and without him being there, it was laid in there perfectly by TJ Yates.
Gain of 32 yards. It's first down for the 42. They go back to Blue, and Blue is slowed up behind the line of scrimmage. He'll lose 3 on that one. Quincy Wilson comes up to make the tackle.
Well, there was great penetration on the play from Jabal Sheard, and also TJ Green in the backfield initially caused Blue to have to bounce that much wider than he intended to.
Yeah, this is plays like they just gave up or something the Colts have struggled with. They've given up 75 plays of 20+ yards. They by far it's the most in the league.
Good player for the Texans. It's Jay Prosh, their fullback. Looks like he's holding his side, pointing to his side. And that rib area. His 4th season out of Auburn. He has a catch today. He has 4 catches on the season. Not many teams have your prototypical fullback, but he certainly is that. See the left side of the screen, number 45. You mentioned TJ Green, Task, and that's who he was battling against. All right, so he's up. He'll be checked out. And now TJ Yates will go back to work. He emphasized, how poorly he played. And he said, I want to make sure that we put a good game on film. And I think that was collectively, but I also think it was for him individually moving forward.
Well, he's been around long enough. He was not on a roster at the beginning of the season. And so he realized he knows where he is in his overall development. If he comes out and doesn't play well, he may not get another opportunity.
Well, he finds Thompson again near the first down marker. He may be right at it in front of Milton.
Yeah, they're going to give him the first down, and this once again is a nice throw and catch. As Chris Thompson starting to assert himself, they're coming off. If he says, "Listen, if I got one-on-one, give it to me." Chris Thompson's playing extremely well on the outside, getting some separation. That's what you look for. If you got a one-on-one, you don't know if the guy can actually do it every time. But in this case, Chris Thompson's doing it every single time.
No Hopkins today. No Will Fuller after the first drive because of a knee injury. Here's Blue. And Blue gets his way inside the 30 to the 28-yard line. TJ Yates was with the Bills during preseason, had an injury settlement at the end of that, and then was just at home preparing for an opportunity with a team.
And when the Houston Texans went through what they went through with Deshaun Watson and Tom Savage and all the other things going on, TJ Yates had been in this Houston system before. with Bill O'Brien, so he knew that was probably, Bill O'Brien knew that was probably his best option to bring a guy in that could function in this offense. Now he's created another opportunity for himself.
On second down, he'll just throw it away. So we have reached the 2-minute warning here in the first half. The Texans on top by 3 with the ball inside the Colts' ends.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Tostitos. Tostitos gives back to Salvation Army. And by Verizon. Best gifts on the best network.
Busy day here in Indianapolis. Not only the Colts today, but also later on the Pacers play the T-Wolves. Houston leads this one 10-7. They're facing a 3rd down and 6 with the ball at the 28-yard line. So far 3 of 4 on 3rd down opportunities. Andre Ellington has checked in for the first time. He's in the backfield.
Down. 26 window.
Still time in the play clock. They move Ellington. And on 3rd down, Yates to throw. Yates looking to the far side for Ellington, and he overthrows him. There were 3 guys there, actually 4 guys there.
That was one where T.J. Yates kind of predetermined where he wanted to go with that football. Lucky he placed it in a safe spot, but the Colts had played it pretty well. It was going to be a tough one. You saw Butler coming over the top as well. That's one where you're hoping for the look. If it's there, you take it, but if not, you got to come down and check down.
That's one where you look back at it and said, I think they saw that on film. They covered that pretty well. Colts did a nice job. They could see that one coming.
Fairbairn is on for the 46-yard field goal attempt. He's made a 52-yarder today. Boy, he's got a good leg, and it was accurate once again. So the Texans stretch their lead to 6, 13-7. Well, it's not all about touchdown passes if you're a quarterback. I mean, T.J. Yates has been excellent today so far, leading his team to 13 points.
Yeah, you talk about how this season has gone for the Texans at that position. Losing Deshaun Watson, having guys get hurt, Tom Savage being out for the season. T.J. Yates is acquitting himself extremely well, and all this stuff goes on. And I hate to say it like this because both these teams are out of the playoffs, but there's a lot of teams that are scouting T.J. Yates today.
I think this year we've seen, and maybe the last few years, how important it is to have a good, solid backup quarterback. Coming up on the Verizon Halftime Report, join JB, Phil, Nate, Boomer, and Coach Cower for all the latest NFL scores and highlights. That's all coming up on the Verizon Halftime Report. Speaking of backup quarterbacks, Andrew Luck's been out all year, so the Colts have had to lean on their backup. In this case, they traded for Jacoby Brissett.
You got to figure, we spoke about this, it's been said a lot. Jacoby Brissett was a virtual stranger before and then just stepped into the huddle and started taking snaps. I mean, it was a trade on week 1. He's starting in week 2. Unbelievable story for the season for this Colts team.
8 of 12 today, 67 yards. He'll throw for the 13th time. Marlon back out of the backfield.
And on the Jacoby Brissett topic, the Colts now know, we're assuming that Andrew Luck is going to come back healthy, but they now know that they've got a backup quarterback who has started, has proven he can be a starting quarterback in this league. So that's one item on the checklist, securing your quarterback position, both starter and backup, that the Colts, I think, will feel very good about going into this offseason.
Second down at 11. Clock stops with Mack out, but he lost a yard on that reception. Brissett in trouble, throws it away. I don't know who was in the area.
Mack was there at the
20.
Yeah,
there he was.
It was a screen pass.
Yep.
So the offensive linemen, they're supposed to hit and then release the defensive linemen that are coming right there. It was a little bit too little of a hit there. Angelo Blackson just shot right through there. Jacoby Brissett did not have time to kind of let that screen develop.
When a guy weighs 300, you got to kind of hit. It's a little more of a hit you got to give him. I mean, boy, he was like a freight train coming downhill when he came through.
There's a little more physics involved than just tapping it. On third down, Brissett might be in trouble again. Clowney is trying to track him down. He can track down any quarterback.
See him back?
Oh, man.
He's a machine, isn't he?
He can cover a lot of ground in a very short time. and he's got a wingspan that you know, you may think you've turned the corner, and all of a sudden you feel a big palm right here. He just says, no, you're not going anywhere. See you back.
I'm telling you, you know, I used to carry the ball a little bit. You think, okay, you take off, say, okay, I'm good because I've got this edge here. And then you can feel it, the presence. You can see Jadeveon Clowney walking him down. You know, at some point, Brissett said, oh my gosh, I ain't going to make it.
Timeout was called, by the way, for the Texans, so they have 2 left. They feel like they have enough time and a good kicker to maybe get into field goal range again.
You see there, Mike Vrabel tapping Jadeveon Clowney on the back. He knows what kind of athlete that guy is and what kind of play he just made.
In fact, Berline, he said you asked him the other day about his offensive abilities and whether he had any want to run the football.
Well, I'm here to tell you, anybody listen, you go to YouTube and you Google Jadeveon Clowney highlight film from high school.
Yeah.
You watch him running the football. It is the most impressive thing you've ever seen. I mean, this guy was 6'6", about 260 pounds in high school as a tailback. And I mean, people were diving to get out of the way of this guy, and I would too. There's no doubt about it, but it's impressive.
Yeah, it was a cartoon. I mean, really. I mean, the guy is unbelievable. And then it's really difficult. And you know, you played for 17 years, and I played for 13. I've seen a lot of great athletes. He's up there. He's in one of those elite categories, like guys like Julius Peppers and guys like that, Bruce Smiths. You know, just elite athlete.
Here's Lamar Miller on first down, and he's up to the 30, a gain of 4.
I mean, you can put him in the same categories as Lawrence Taylor, guys like that, truly elite athletes. You never know how it's going to go for him. He got off to a rocky start, did Clowney, with an injury early in his career, and him and J.J. Watt have never been on the, you know, they're rarely on the field together because
not the way they imagine,
each of one of them has been injured, and when one of them's gone, the other dominates. And it's been frustrating for this organization to go through that.
Second down and 6, Miller again, running to the right. So they're content with just letting the clock wind out here a little bit.
Yeah, I think with a 6-point lead, you got a quarterback who's playing well. You don't want something bad to happen. Bill O'Brien, he still wants to win this football game. So you're coaching it just like you are playing for the playoffs. You got to play it that way.
Clock winding down, 20 seconds to play. He doesn't have to snap it. Play clock is about a second off.
Delta, 26.
They'll hand it off again, and that'll be the final play of this first half as Miller over the 45-yard line is taken down at the 47. Darius Butler makes the tackle. It's a gain of 16. That's the end of the first half with the score. Houston 13 and Indianapolis 7. Halftime is next after these first half highlights from Verizon and a word from your local station.
Want to stay up to date? Hey Siri, show me football scores.
Well, the score here in Indianapolis, the Texans 13 and the Colts 7 as we get set to begin the third quarter. Our final second half of the 2017 season. Along with Steve Berline and Steve Tasker. All right, let's begin with the Colts. Obviously, they haven't been able to muster much more than the Jack Doyle touchdown.
Well, they've only had 4 possessions today because Houston has done such a good job of moving the football, long drives, time-consuming.
Yeah.
So the Colts, I think, have played pretty well. They just have not had the ball enough. So they're gonna have to kick off initially, make a stop, and hopefully get the ball back and put some points on the board.
Texans, T.J. Yates has been good so far.
Yeah, he has, but the Texans have got the best 2 guys on the field. Alfred Blue has been playing extremely well. They've leaned on him offensively, and on the other side, Jadeveon Clowney. They've done a good job, the Colts have, of keeping him away from the football, but that guy has been a force down inside, and he's drawing all the protection towards himself as well. So the best 2 players on the team have given their club a 6-point lead.
And you see the stats, the time of possession is really the key. When you look at it there, the Colts only having the ball 10 minutes, 10.5 minutes in the first half. The other thing the Texans have done on their drives, they've cashed in with 2 field goals and a touchdown. We've seen an onside kick.
Second one of the day. This one more traditional, and it looks like it's recovered by the Colts, but there's a huge pile on top of the football.
Well, the strongest cat gets it in there. And the guy who starts out with it is probably not the guy who ends up with it.
It's going to change possession down there in the bottom of that pile.
I've
said it 100 times. The devil himself lives at the bottom of an NFL pile.
By the body language, it looks like the Texans have it. But
I thought the Colts grabbed
I
at
thought
the
they did
very
too.
end, but like I said, that's the guy who starts out with it.
Yep.
Probably not the guy who ends up with it.
Well, it will be the Texans football. It's recovered by Curtis Drummond.
Great kick. The bad bounces are what you count on as a coverage team, and right here, it looks like
Oh, it squirted right out of the hands of Matt Jones and Chris Milton.
Now you can see, Chris Milton is the one that had the best shot at it, but he had a leg in the way.
Yeah, and then everybody comes in and
second time today, obviously. Do you like this kind of
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
I'm sure you love it.
It's great.
Tasker,
it's great.
Mr. Special Teams.
It's great not to have to go in there and get it. Just watch.
Lou starts in the backfield, and he's tracked down from behind by Matthias Farley. That's an excellent tackle, a loss of 3.
Yeah, Matthias Farley coming off the edge. Just ran down the play, tracked it down. Was coming on a blitz off the left side, and there was no way that he could have been blocked by Kobe Hamilton.
Yeah, it was a blitz, a run blitz. We saw that in the first half. These defenses are coming off, bringing blitzes to stop the run and daring these quarterbacks to beat you. And now TJ Yates has really kept his team on the field and given them a chance to do that.
Facing a second down and 13. Quick toss to Miller. And Braxton Miller is able to gain 4. All right, so last week Alfred Blue had 108 yards, and he has been the focal point again today for the Texans.
Yeah, 14 carries already today. A couple of catches. And the bottom, he had another reception here, just doing a good job finding the soft spot on the check down. But, you know, maybe the yards haven't shown up that big, only averaging a little over 2 yards a carry. But he's the focal point of this Colts defense. He's drawing their attention. That's allowed TJ Yates to make some plays in the passing game.
He and Miller have combined for 65 yards on the ground. So it'll be 3rd down and 9. Yates throws long to the near side, and he overthrows his intended receiver, Kobe Hamilton. It'll be 4th down, and there's that stop you were talking about, Steve Berline, with the Colts.
And we'll see if the Colts can capitalize here. That's exactly what Chuck Pagano wanted. They would have preferred to get the ball via the onside kick, which they attempted initially, but next best thing was to hold them to a 3 and out. Get the ball back in your offense's hands, see if you can make something happen here offensively.
Yeah, huge pressure there. They brought a big-time blitz off the right side. He tried to hit the fade on the outside, and it's just too low percentage for that to happen. Colts really turning up the blitz early in the second half.
Chester Rogers back deep to receive. They're coming after Shane Leckler, the veteran punter. Not much phases that guy. Rogers calls for the fair catch at the 16-yard line. All right, so the Colts get it for the first time in the second half, down by 6 when we return to Indy.
Broadcast is copyrighted by NFL Productions for the private use of our audience. Any other use of this telecast or any pictures, descriptions, or accounts of the game without the consent of NFL Productions is prohibited.
Well, back here, we've watched the Texans defensively lose J.J. Watt, but Clowney's been all over the field here today.
Yeah, he's got 3 tackles and a half sack right there, as you see, but the fact that it watches he comes out of the middle of this and runs Brissett down, sets up a 4th and long instead of getting Brissett a chance to convert that with his legs. I mean, the guy he's all over the place.
7th carry of the day for Frank Gore. We said he needed a couple of big ones, and he's upended across the 30 to the 32-yard line. That's a gain of 15 yards. Andre Howell in on the tackle.
Well, it's the first time that Gore has gotten to the next level.
Yeah, Jadeveon Clowney came inside and took on the center guard late, and that left the outside contain out. Jadeveon Clowney tried to make something happen and knife inside. He jumped inside the defensive end and gave up the edge.
7 carries, 28 yards, and then some more. As Brian Peters makes the tackle after a gain of 9. Oh, man, we've got some pushing between Jonathan Joseph and T.Y. Hilton, and Joseph actually took a swing.
Joseph will get ejected for that, I believe.
Well, they'll look at that.
If you swing at him, even if you don't make contact.
Well, he did whiff, thankfully.
You disqualify yourself.
He knows better, and we talked to Jonathan Joseph this past, on Thursday, and he has tremendous respect for T.Y. Hilton.
Big time.
The two battled each other many times over the years, both veterans. Surprising to see them flared up a little bit there.
After the play, there were fouls by both teams. Dead ball personal foul, offense number 13. dead ball personal foul defense. Number 24, they offset, second down.
Yeah, I'm surprised by that because it has always been that if you swing and take a swipe at a guy, whether you get him or not. Well, see, that's to me that you got to take those guys out.
Yeah, both of them.
They should both hit the showers.
That many.
Yeah, you can't let that go. You can't let it, and you can't let it slide because now they got to come out and play against each other again.
Well, they're matched up one more time on the outside. That's Doyle in motion. And Brissett hands it off to Gore. And Gore running hard inside Texans territory, down to the 45. After the play, Hilton and Joseph went at it again. Gilchrist made the tackle.
That's why, see that Steve Tasker you mentioned, it's going to continue on the rest of the game now. These two guys are now fired up. It's an emotional game. We'll watch the run here by Frank Gore. All of a sudden, you start thinking, is 139 yards he needs realistic to expect here in the second half? But these two guys are more caught up in the one-on-one matchup than they are the game right now.
Not one.
Taken in motion to the far side. Gore, by the way, 3 carries, 38 yards in this drive alone. And he'll take it again. He's going to lose yardage here. He'll lose nearly 2.
Yeah, Clowney and Gilchrist converging right in the backfield. And I don't want to be like I'm overreacting, but when you get guys that lose it like that, even for a second, there are too many opportunities for revenge and counter-punching and giving them free shots and all of that stuff. I think it's a great example just set for the rest of the league. If you're going to do that, you're going to get thrown out, and that'll go away really quick.
There's been guys thrown out for less than that.
No
Absolutely.
question.
I'm surprised.
By the way, nice reception for Gore as he came off to put his helmet back on. As Brissett fires to Doyle, and Doyle has a first down, sprawling. Well, it depends on the spot, but they should give him the 35.
It's going to be very close.
It is. His knee hit first. I think he might have been just short of the line.
Yeah, it might be a half yard.
That could be a good spot. It should be a pretty good spot there. He's got to get to the 35-yard line. He's down.
Yeah, he was down short of the line, and they got it. Actually, I think the spot was even generous
Number
where it
61
is.
is reporting eligible.
Well, Brandon Dunn makes the tackle, and he is about a half yard shy. Anthony Fabiano has been announced as an eligible lineman. He's on the left side of the offensive line. They'll hand the ball off to Gore, who is the fullback, and Gore moves the pile to the 33-yard line.
We've heard from the NFL about the fisticuffs between
T.Y. Hilton,
T.Y. Hilton
and
Jonathan Joseph, and it's up to the official. They've given the discretion of the official, and they obviously decided that the two of them won't get thrown out for it.
Well, Steratore is looking over that side. He's keeping an eye on the two of them right now. He actually just said something to Jonathan Joseph. It's Gene Steratore. Texans showing blitz. Brissett fires to the right side. Doyle trying a one-handed grab, but he couldn't get to it. It'll be second down and 10. So far, 7 plays on this drive, 5 rushes, 2 passes.
Yeah, you can see that
Now he's
Jonathan
working
Joseph talking to the officials. I mean, they're going to stay on top of this. Gene Steratore and this crew are obviously very experienced, and that doesn't happen that often. For a game that's as physical as football is, you don't really get guys losing their cool that much. So they'll be on top of that, but still, that's
particularly this late in the season too. His back is inside the 30 to the 29. A gain of 4. It'll be third down. Dylan Cole makes the tackle for the Texans.
Jonathan Joseph and the back judge on his side have got something going, man. They've been jawing back and forth the last couple of plays.
It's Dino Paganelli.
Yeah, well, the official's not listening to me. He's got something to say too.
They're down at 6. The Colts down by 6. And Brissett has Doyle, who lost the football. Flag, though, is in. I would assume that's going to go against the Texans.
Yeah, it's going to be holding against Drummond, I would think.
Well, they're still talking. If Dino and Jonathan didn't know each other, they know each other
Holding
now.
defense number 24, 5-yard penalty, automatic, first down.
They called that on Jonathan Joseph. I think that's Drummond.
That's a mistake, yeah.
25. Green Jackson.
I think that tells you, though, that Gene Steratore has Jonathan Joseph on his mind right now.
Yeah, I think it had to be Drummond. That's where the flag was thrown. He was in on the play with Doyle. You see number 23 right there at the bottom of your screen coming across.
Yeah, it was right at the top of the stem.
As he was trying to separate.
Right.
Frank Gore checks back in. 52 yards for Gore. He'll take the handoff to the near side. Oh, he's got a little extra burst in him this second half, doesn't he?
He does.
Now, I think you got to tip your hat to the Colts coaching staff. There's no question they found something in the blocking schemes that they were using in the first half. They've made a few tweaks to the front five, the offensive line, and Gore is reaping the benefits. They started to block this a little differently.
And we got some extracurricular activity with Chester Rogers.
Getting a little chippy out here.
Yep, and Kevin Johnson after the play was over. Go! Here's Gore again. Gore through the middle, and he's down inside the 15. He's got a first down and a gain of about 2.5.
Well, I think what if you ask me what I think might have transpired at halftime, I think Chuck Pagano may have challenged his Colt offense and the offensive line and the running game. Said, let's do what we can do to get number 23 to his yards. It's 139 yards on the day.
Yeah, he's nicked up a little bit. He limps off the field.
They've definitely come out and tried to make a statement.
No question.
On this first drive of the second half for them. They want to get physical and control that line of scrimmage.
56.
Marlon Mack takes over for Frank Gore. He'll take the handoff. Stiff arm of Clowney. And he breaks a tackle inside the 10 and then bounces to the 5-yard line. Actually, they're going to mark him inside the 5, closer to the 2.
Wow.
That's a run right there. That's the glimpse that they've seen this year from Mack.
That does not happen very often.
We showed a play just like this in the open where Clowney did exactly that. Got into the backfield off a block and made the tackle, and boom. Just a great stiff arm by Mack.
So that Kevin Johnson missed him. They won't remember that Kevin Johnson missed, though. It's a gain of a dozen yards. It'll be first and goal from inside the 2.
Yeah, Mack about half the size of Javier Clowney.
Literally.
Little bunch formation on the near side. Quick toss to the near side. They try to get it to Aiken. And that was a fastball by Jacoby Brissett.
I'm a little baffled by that call. You're in the shotgun, first and goal at the 1-yard line.
Yeah, it was Daniels, excuse me, not Aiken.
But it was first and goal at the 1-yard. Why line up in the shotgun and throw the football?
Well, they're not going to do that now. They got 2 extra offensive linemen coming on. Aiken and T.Y. Hilton are coming off.
Yeah, Burwell and Fabiano.
Just a little bit heavy here.
Yeah, Doyle is the fullback. Mack is the deep man. It'll go to Mack, trying the right side, try to sneak through, and he's into a pile, and the ball goes into the end zone. Touchdown, Indianapolis. Well, that heavy package works.
Well, it wasn't rocket science. Just a lot of big bodies and a little bit of momentum. And Mack gets pushed over on a 4th effort.
Good Burwell getting in the mix of that celebration. He had already cleared himself into the end zone. For Mack, that was his 3rd rushing touchdown, his 4th TD overall. That was a nice drive by the Colts.
Well, and Mack is going to factor in the decision with Frank Gore as well next year in the offseason. This is a good, promising young back that they really do like here. In fact, everybody around the NFL knows who this kid is already. And so the question is he going to be your bell cow? Or are you going to give Frank Gore a chance to come back next year again?
Well, tough snap, but Adam Vinatieri is able to connect to the point after the touchdown by Marlon Mack and his friends. He thought he was stopped right there, but no way. Into the end zone.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Southwest Airlines. Low fares, no hidden fees. That's transparency. AT&T. And by 12 Strong, in theaters January 19th.
Folks getting geared up for the New Year's Eve celebration. They hope that they're celebrating a Colts victory. They take the lead on Marlon Mack's 1-yard touchdown run. 13 plays, 83 yards. Frank Gore had a big role in that drive. And then he limped off, and Mack took it into the end zone. Sanchez will kick it off. This is a more traditional kickoff for Sanchez. Thompson will let it bounce, and he fields it on one hop. Wednesday on CBS, it's a new amazing race in the new year. Teams that are tops in their field will compete for the $1 million prize. The Amazing Race season premiere Wednesday at 8/7 Central. Only CBS. Well, Chuck Pagano, who has had some success, a lot of success here in Indianapolis. Tough year when you lose your franchise quarterback. He had great perspective. He used that word a lot on Friday when we met with him about his tenure here. Task, I think your comment before is he said, I'm not bitter, I'm better for being here in Indianapolis. I thought that was just a tremendous comment for Pagano. As Miller runs for 3 yards.
Yeah, it has been an up and down run for him. They got the AFC Championship game, and the second year here he was diagnosed and went through the cancer treatment. Bruce Arians emerged as a great head coach candidate because of that, and now has been in Arizona ever since. And now it looks as though Bruce Arians is going to step away from the Arizona head coaching job. But both those guys, a lot of respect for each other, and a lot of good things came from what was thought to be at the time a tragedy.
On second down, Yates to throw. Pass is complete to Miller, who's tapped on the ground. He's short of the first down. Chuck Pagano said, until they tell me I am coaching one day at a time, whatever happens, I am good. It's all good. He said, I've been blessed.
Yeah, a lot of coaches, we talk to a lot of guys, and a lot of them, and they're always on that hot seat, no matter whether they're securing their jobs or not, whether they're winning or losing. All these guys kind of sign up for that way of life in the NFL. It's such a merry-go-round. Bill O'Brien's is another one. Those guys have coached at different levels, but nevertheless, they're coaches through and through.
Yates on third down to the near sideline for Anderson. He overthrows him, and for the second straight time, the Texans will have to punt.
Yeah, he missed that one, didn't he?
He did miss that. He was late getting to it. You were pointing him out, Steve, before TJ Yates saw him, but definitely had 2 or 3 steps. You know, should have been able to get back to that much quicker, I think, if you're TJ Yates. Steven Anderson was the guy that was kind of wide open running across the field.
That's Chester Rogers back deep to receive. The second straight 3 and out. And Leckler with a booming high punt. Fielded at the 13. Rogers is going to try to return it. Rogers, a quick burst up across the 25 to the 27. Colts up by 1. We'll get it back when we return here in the third quarter. Well, for these two teams, this will wrap up their football season for 2017 and beyond, obviously. Around the National Football League, there are a lot of games with playoff implications today as they wrap up the year. Frank Gore, by the way, returns. He's in the backfield by himself on first down. He's 11 yards away from 14,000 rushing yards for his career. He's set to throw, and he has Gore. And a gain of 2 before he's taken down by McKinney. I mean, just to think about the fact that he could be in this category momentarily.
Look at these guys.
It's incredible.
Well, he's already in that category.
Well, you're right.
By being the number 5 guy, but 11 yards to 14,000. I mean, that's a big number. That is rare. That is rarefied air right there, man.
And wants to play next year, but he wants the right situation to play.
I don't think there's any doubt he's going to play. He loves the game too much.
Hey, kill. Hey, 55. White 20. Good.
He'll take the handoff. He bursts up the middle, and he moves the pile to the 35, a gain of 5.
Yeah, you talked to him, and it's his last drive. This running game really got going. It started with Frank Gore as he busted it to the outside, got the nice run there. And this will show you why he's so great. Inside, outside, and then it just happens. He sees it before it's even there, and then he takes it over, gives it all to Mack, who gets the stiff arm and goes down inside to the corner and then pushes it into the end zone. The running game was great in that last scoring drive for the Colts. And it started with this guy. You talk about, that's a lifetime getting 14,000 yards in the NFL.
On third down, Brissett looking to throw, fires to the near sideline for Brent, who has it on the sidelines. They say he's out of bounds, though. Let's go to Boomer for an update in New York.
Hey, how about the day that Rashard Higgins is having 2 catches, 2 touchdowns? This one from Deshaun Kaiser right there, 7 plays, 68 yards. Browns trying to win their first game and upset the Steelers. Game is now tied at 21. Back to you guys.
Wow. Oh, Boom, that's impressive. I mean, Hugh Jackson's already said he is going to jump into the lake because he promised he would if they won 1 game again, so, or less, or fewer, I should say.
That will be interesting to see if and when that happens.
Yeah, I would hope he waits till the summer before he does it. Sanchez's punt sends Miller to the near sideline and out of bounds at the 15-yard line. All right, it's a 1-point lead. Texans 2 straight 3 and outs. Let's see if they can capitalize.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Domino's. Order online at Domino's.com. And by State Farm. Here to help life go right.
Well, it looks like he started his celebrating of the new year a little early here at Lucas Oil Stadium. Why not? His team's on top by 1. The Texans consecutive 3 and outs. First half they had drives of 10 plays, 13 plays, 10 plays, and then the 3 plays at the end of the first half. They kind of lost their rhythm, trying to get it back with Blue. And Blue has stood up as he gets across the 15 to the 16. Let's check in with Boomer in New York. Boom.
Hey, guys, a wild game developing at Heinz Field. You know, right after Rashard Higgins scored his 2nd touchdown of the day, the kickoff is returned by rookie Juju Smith-Schuster. He's going to go 96 yards trying to keep the Browns winless. Steelers take the lead 28-21. Back to you guys in Indy.
Only the Browns, right, Boomer? I mean, you just get back in the ball game and you give up a big play like that. What a crusher.
Well, Ben Roethlisberger is not playing, but the Steelers can still get the top seed in the AFC with a win and a New England loss. New England is leading its game against the Jets. Top seeds since 2010. You wonder if it's important or not? Well, the top seeds have won the last 3 Super Bowls.
In the AFC.
In the AFC. Yep.
I sense a pattern there between New England and Denver.
A little bit.
Yeah, a little bit.
New England is leading the Jets 21-3 in its game. 3rd down and 8. And the Texans 3 straight 3 and outs, 2 in this half.
And we've got a 3rd and 8 right here. Indianapolis doing a really good job this half on 1st and 2nd down.
Yates, everybody's covered. He's going to try to run for it, and he's not going to get it. It depends on the spot. Actually, he went head first, so he might have gotten it.
They could have stopped him. He did get it.
I think he got it.
And he should have, because he dove head first. He's not down where he goes down. They have to touch him. And the Colts took about a half a second too long to do just that.
I don't know about that.
They only rushed 2 guys, the Colts did. They dropped everybody back. And TJ Yates sensed that there was a soft pocket. I think the fans are thinking it's a bad spot.
I think it might be just by that replay, but they're not going to look at it. Blue will run it on 1st down. Watch the fingertips of one of the defenders as Yates was diving for that 1st down.
All they have to do is touch him. And
right there.
He was down.
Left hand. That was a yard short.
Yeah, he was down at the 24-yard line rather than the 25.
I think he got him. Basham got him, and he was upset when he came to the sidelines, and the coaches were telling him to calm down.
Right. That was clearly a yard short of that mark.
Well, a break for the Texans as we head toward the 1-minute mark here in the 3rd quarter. Blue breaks a tackle or 2 and is up to the 32-yard line, a gain of 4.
Once again, the Texans going heavy up front with Kyle Fuller coming in as a tight end, going in motion. He's a reserve guard, and they've done that a number of times, as well as Quisenberry is in there as well. So the 2 of them come in as a heavy, try and run in the football. It sets them up with a 3rd and 5. Didn't get much out of it, but obviously the Texans have used that quite a few times today, trying to kickstart their running game.
Could be because they were sacked 7 times last week. 5 of 9 on 3rd down so far. 18 seconds to play in the 3rd quarter, and Yates throws it low, incomplete. Flag comes in, and I think Basham is going to be penalized for hitting the quarterback.
Yeah, it's looking like he's upset.
Holding. Offense number 62. Penalty is declined. 4th down.
Look, Chad Slade is the one that got called for the hold. Yeah, the takedown.
Oh, so that's why Basham was upset.
Yeah, Basham didn't see the flag thrown, obviously. He was upset about the fact that he was held.
Well, it forces the Texans to punt. Rodgers back deep to receive. And Leckler from the 10-yard line. Here's Rodgers again, trying to get to the outside. He's tripped up inside the 20-yard line. And with 2 seconds left, Curtis Drummond, by the way, made the special teams tackle.
Yeah, that was well covered by the Texans. Great kick by Leckler. A guy who's been doing it for us as long as I can remember.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got a phenomenal leg. Moved back home to Houston after he played so well out in Oakland with the Raiders for so long.
58-yard punt, by the way.
Yeah.
With some serious hang time.
Yeah. There's Shane Leckler. You got Leckler at 41. You got Vinatieri at 45. Off the play fake, Brissett looking to throw. Aiken is hit by Jonathan Joseph after a gain of maybe 2. That's the end of the 3rd quarter. We'll return to Indianapolis after this message and a word from your local station. It is the start of the 4th quarter where the Colts are hanging on to a 1-point lead and have the football. There's T.Y. Hilton. He told us he would get 48 yards. He put it to bed in the first half to reach 1,000. Well, he hasn't put it to bed just yet. He's been targeted only 5 times today. Brissett throwing on the run for Rodgers. That'll be a 1st down up to the 38-yard line.
And if Jacoby Brissett hadn't gotten pressure on that play right there, T.Y. Hilton ran a nice comeback right on the top. I think that's where Brissett wanted to go. But Jacoby Brissett got flushed to his right and made a nice throw to Rodgers instead.
Gain of 17 yards.
Yeah, you can bet there's been some conversations on the sideline about yards and milestones that are on the cusp. This not just for T.Y. Hilton, but also for Frank Gore, who's back in the game.
That's Hilton in motion. Gore is the deep man of the I formation.
White 20.
Here comes Gore, 6 yards away from 4,000. Stood up immediately by 14,000. Stood up immediately by Carlos Watkins. It's a gain of 1. It'll be 2nd down and 9. So now 5 away from 14,000 for his career. Be the 5th player to reach 14,000 yards.
Yeah, the 5th player. Don't just go. The 5th player in history.
Yep.
I mean, it's pretty amazing.
And don't forget, Chuck Pagano was on the staff at Miami when they recruited Frank Gore to play for the Hurricanes.
Hey, Jesse.
Here comes the blitz by the Texans. The handoff goes to Gore, and Gore up to the 40. Another 1-yard gain. The 3rd down and 8.
Well, you felt like that the Colts had found a softness or a weakness in this run defense for Houston. I think Houston tried to change it up coming out early in the second half. They had Jadeveon Clowney playing in an inside linebacker position, and then it didn't take him very long to figure out that wasn't working too well. Let's go back to our old stuff. They've got Clowney for the most part on the outside.
Right 41.
Colts just 3 of 7 today on 3rd downs. This is one of the longer ones of the day. Hilton in motion. Brissett steps up in the pocket, throws a little high to Gore, and Gore has it, but he's going to be shy of the 1st down by 3 yards. Zach Cunningham in on the tackle. And Kareem Jackson there as well.
Well, plenty of time for Jacoby Brissett right there to find somebody open, and he had a crossing route in front of him as well. For whatever reason, he didn't feel comfortable, and it ends up coming up just short.
Well, the Texans will get it back, down by 1. Luke Rhodes is the long snapper. Chuck Pagano talked about him the other day at our meetings and how well he has played this year. Braxton Miller calls for the fair catch inside the 10. Well, field position won't be great for T.J. Yates, but he's down by 1. He has the ball. Coming up next, they have one last shot. The Bengals battle the Ravens. The Jags take on the Titans. And if Baltimore and Tennessee win, they're in. If they don't, well, the Chargers and the Bills still have a shot at a wild card spot. The AFC playoff picture will be determined in Game 2 of our doubleheader right here on CBS. We're going to talk a little bit more about that race because there are obviously spots still up for grabs. TJ Yates is in trouble. He has been sacked in the end zone. It's a safety, Hassan Ridgeway.
Well, Ridgeway was pretty much untouched. I don't know what the miscommunication was up front. Chuck Pagano likes it. Here's Ridgeway coming off the top of your screen, just untouched. Not quite sure what happened. You can tell that right there. Giacomini was definitely confused.
We'll be back in 30 seconds after this from Fidelity Investments. Sack number 3 for Hassan Ridgeway has given the Colts a 3-point lead. Let's take a look at it.
Well, here's Ridgeway right here, and he's going up against Giacomini, and who for whatever reason decides to fan outside, or fan inside, and thinking that he had help from the outside.
Yeah, Slade and Giacomini, the guard tackle, completely blew it.
Yeah,
total mistake.
It was a miscommunication, and yeah, 100% right. Not sure who's at fault. One of those two for sure.
Chester Rogers comes running up, and he'll get it at the 32-yard line. And he's up to the 39-yard line. There is a flag down, however. Wheels are starting to spit off a little bit here for the Texans. But they're down by only 3.
Offside, kicking team number 23. That 5-yard penalty will be added to the end of the run. First down, Indianapolis.
Well, Drummond is called for the penalty. So let's watch this play one more time, the playoff picture one more time. So the Ravens, who have played really well recently, I mean, if they win, they're in. And we think that, I mean, we've watched them. I mean, they're an excellent team.
Yeah, they found themselves in the second half of the season. They, Joe Flacco and all the offensive weapons started to get healthy. Their offensive line settled in. I think they're going to get in.
They've got their swagger back.
Yeah.
They've got their confidence. They're peaking at the right time.
Tennessee, however, got to go to Jacksonville and win to get in. If they win, they're in.
And they've been playing much more poorly recently.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and that's a home game for Tennessee.
41.
Against a team that was embarrassed last week in San Francisco. The Jaguars are going to be trying to make a statement today.
Yeah, because they feel like they have to refine things before they get into the postseason. Off the play fake, Brissett on first down. Pressure's coming, just throwing it away, intended for Rodgers. There is another flag down in the direction of T.Y. Hilton at the 46-yard line of Houston.
Well, Brian Cushing was in the area there. Not sure why he was running around with T.Y. Hilton.
They were trying to underneath cover Hilton on a comeback with Cushing dropping back into coverage.
By the way, Jonathan Joseph is jawing with the sidelines.
Holding defense, number 25. 5-yard penalty, automatic. First down.
Kareem Jackson called for the penalty. There's Joseph. He is jawing with the Colts sideline. He's angry today.
You see Jackson right there.
Yeah, he got him. That's one of that. T.Y. Hilton is so good at getting separation. He's not a big guy. I mean, you see all these number 1 receivers like A.J. Green and Julio Jones are just big, enormous guys. T.Y. Hilton does it with quickness and route running.
Here's Frank Gore barreling his way toward midfield, and he is slowly climbing toward 14,000. He'll get a couple of yards. He'll be second down at 8. Dunn and Watkins in on the tackle. So they're inside Texans territory. Gore, 17 carries, 72 yards. He needs 2 yards now. It's been a slow countdown.
Yeah, it seems like we've been talking about that for a while.
Blitz is coming. Gore's got it. Gore to the edge. Gore has 14,000 yards. On the ground, he gains 4 here to climb over 14,000. He is the 5th player in NFL history to reach that number.
And he's slow to get up.
Yeah, he's been banged up a little bit today.
Oh, they pulled. Oh, I see it. His helmet almost came off, or got tackled high.
Yeah, he may have to be checked out after that one, the way he went down on the ground. He is officially at 14,003 yards.
This is when you don't want to take a 4-yard loss.
"18 carries today, 77 yards for Gore." He hurt his knee earlier in this game. Now he's up.
Yeah, you know, when you hear Chuck Pagano, anybody else talk about him, Chuck Pagano said, when you look up the term football player, you're going to see a picture of Frank Gore right next to it, because that's what he's all about: toughness, consistency. He said he believes that Frank Gore's fueled by his fear of not being able to play this game anymore. You see right there, he definitely was shaken up by that blow to the head there. I think it was his neck might have been twisted a little bit.
And now they just made the announcement for the home crowd here in Indianapolis, and they're appreciative of all that Frank Gore has done for this franchise in his 3 years here.
Marlon Mack checks into the game for Gore on 3rd down and 3. And we got a little movement.
False start. Offense number 73. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
Joe Hay called for the penalty. All right, so here it is updated. 5 players in NFL history have rushed for 14,000 or more yards, and Frank Gore has added his name to that list.
Decent company for Frank Gore right there.
I thought it was funny the other day. He was going through ladders on the sidelines wearing number 21 in practice, and he kept coming back to our end and just talking more, and then doing ladders, coming back more, talking about what he wants to do next year.
We never said a word to him.
He dumps it off to Marlon Mack as he's going down, and Mack has the 1st down as he rams into Clowney.
Well, that was payback for the little stiff arm a little bit earlier in the game.
I don't know if we got a shot of it, because Mack did make a nice run, but I'll tell you what, Jadeveon Clowney was the period at the end of that sentence.
Super job by Brissett.
Oh boy,
man, that's a lot of force.
I am glad I am in the booth. Goodness gracious.
Don't think Jadeveon Clowney was not remembering that stiff arm.
Marlon Mack again, this time on the ground. And he may have gotten one before he was stopped by Zach Cunningham. By the way, you look at the Colts. They are not a 4th quarter team. They were outscored coming into today, 130-38. But they are handling this 4th quarter quite well. They got 2 points.
Yeah, it's been an ongoing problem for Chuck Pagano and his offense. They just, everything goes away for them. I mean, they just can't. They just haven't been effective in any phase of the game in the 4th quarter of their losses.
Trips to the near side for Brissett on 2nd down. And Brissett, pocket collapsed. He decided to run. Now he's just going to throw it away.
Well, you talk about those 4th quarter woes. They're at a minus 92 point differential. That is the 3rd worst in the NFL since 1970. Only the 07 Rams and the 05 Houston Texans worse. So I mean that's you don't want to be on the bottom of that list.
Might be a little different if that guy was in a quarterback. Maybe
it would be a heck of a lot different. In fact, I think it's safe to say, not taking anything away from Jacoby Brissett, but that's a special quarterback.
5 losses this year when leading in the 4th quarter. That part of that's their red zone issues too. On 3rd down, Brissett slings it for Hilton. And the pass was going out of bounds, and Hilton was about 3 yards deeper than where the pass landed. It'll be 4th down.
Yeah, Texans had the right coverage on that time. They were playing 2 deep man-to-man underneath. Very hard coverage for a wide receiver to get open on the outside like that on a comeback route.
This will be a 54-yard attempt.
T.Y. a little frustrated.
Yeah, and as the 45-year-old comes out to hit this 45-yard attempt, 54-yard attempt.
Yeah, this will be a 54-yard attempt for Vinatieri, who's hitting him from 60 in practice. Good snap, good hole. Kick is on its way, and it is good! 45 years old and still kicking. Adam Vinatieri has given the Colts a 19-13 lead.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by New York Life. With the right guidance, everyone can be good at life. The Home Depot. More saving, more doing. And by the 2018 Ford F-150, it doesn't just raise the bar, it is the bar.
When we were last in Indianapolis, we asked Adam Vinatieri, what would force him to play next year? And he said, I'm not really sure, but obviously this is a 54-yard field goal indoors. But this is a guy that's been so consistent even this year.
That's pure, and that's been the story of his career. I mean, he's money. When the chips are down, I mean, the guy's won a couple of Super Bowls with kicks. He's done it for a long time. He doesn't seem to lose any jump on his ball. Certainly, he's as accurate as he's ever been. And you think back to last week where he had this up-and-down game last week where he just missed a 60-yard.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
5 of 6 this year for 50-plus.
He had 7 kicks last year at 50 yards or more. Here comes Thompson. And Thompson's thrown out of bounds at about the 33-yard line by T.J. Green. Well, Vinatieri has said recently that he does want to play next year. There's no reason to think he can't. We asked if he wanted to play to 50. He said, I haven't really put a number on it. He said, there's nothing really about the number. But 45 years and 3 days.
Yeah, two of the oldest guys in the league, 2 of the 5 oldest guys in the league. Shane Leckler, the punter for the Texans, who's
Number
still getting it done.
61 is reporting eligible.
The guy Brady on the end.
You think he's done yet?
Is there anything?
You know, you notice about him, he doesn't punt or kick.
Yes, the only one on that list.
Hey, finish the mic.
Lamar Miller is in the backfield. That's Fuller that was in motion. The handoff goes to Miller. And not much there. Miller may have gotten 2 yards. It'll be 2nd down and 8. Stewart was there to escort him out of bounds.
Well, this Texans team has had no rhythm offensively this whole second half. We were talking about how the long drives in the first half and keeping the Colts off the field. It's been completely reversed this second half. The Texans have done nothing offensively.
By the way, they did not give him any yards on that game, on that run, so it's 2nd down and 10. Here comes the blitz. Yates dumps it off. First catch of the day for Steven Anderson as Antonio Morrison makes the tackle. A gain of about 5. But it's 3rd down. Hey, give the Colts defense some credit this half. I mean, we talk about the Texans not being in rhythm. Colts defense has really made some nice adjustments.
Yeah, they played a lot of man. They've dared him to throw it. They haven't been able to get really much separation. You take into account that DeAndre Hopkins was out for the entire game, probably gave them some confidence they would match up, and they played a lot more man with single high safety. Here they'll have 2 high safeties, but they just haven't scared them on the outside. We'll see if they rotate out of it.
A 3rd down and 6. Yates is in trouble and going down. Jabal sheared. 5.5 sacks on the year. It's his first sack since the 5th of November.
Well, you said only 5.5 sacks on the year for Sheard, but he is 2nd in the NFL coming to this game with quarterback hits, quarterback hurries with 44, so he's no stranger to being in the quarterback's face. Right there, he finishes it off.
Chester Rogers back deep to receive. And Rogers will field this one at the 17. Oh boy, it's one defender. Oh boy, what a block to free him up the sidelines. You always have to look to see if there's a flag thrown on that block.
It was well blocked. Anthony Johnson got in the way of the pursuit. You think it was going to be a clip, but watch as it comes through. He's got his back to the defender. See, he turns his back to the defender and just shields him. That's exactly how you do it. No good, no call, and it turns.
And it was above the waist.
Turns Rogers right up the edge.
They both went down, but the contact was above the waist.
31-yard return. Johnson getting congratulated on the sidelines. He knew he did something right as soon as he stood up.
We're 19.
Here's Frank Gore on 1st down. And Gore gets a couple close to the 49 before he stopped. Well, it's been a tough day for T.Y. Hilton. He's been in a fight all day.
Yeah, he's been battling too, and you see there, here Jonathan Joseph, they're going at it. He needed 41 yards to get 1,000. He hasn't gotten it. You see there, just getting tied up. He's battling more in the run game than he is in the passing game. They've tried to get him the football, but let's face it, when you're facing the Colts today, he's the guy you got to take away in the passing game, and he would be for almost any team he lined up for.
Well, we found out that both Jonathan Joseph and T.Y. Hilton have chins. They both took a couple shots to the chin.
Frank Gore again, and not much there. He loses a couple of yards. Brian Cushing makes the tackle. And it'll be third down with 5:44 and counting to play.
Yeah, he's getting closer to 14,000 again.
Listen, we already put the graphic up. We could put it up again, but we already put it up.
That's it, but yeah, he'll keep it on. He's going to keep it on that side. There's no doubt.
What do you think they do here on third down and 11? I mean, they obviously want the clock to keep moving. They'd love to keep the ball away from the Texans for the last 5 minutes if they can.
Well, if I were them, I would think about putting Mack on the field, throw a screen pass to him in a situation like this, but he's not even on the field right now.
Brissett has some time, rolls to the near side. He's going to try to run for the first down, and he does have the first down. Inside the 40-yard line. Well, there were a couple defenders there that were a little hesitant as Eddie Pleasant makes the tackle finally for the Texans.
Yeah, this is a function. I think you're right. The Texans come up and they couldn't decide whether to come up and leave the guy they were covering. Yeah, and that's a soft tackle.
Yeah, Zach Cunningham's got to go wrap him up.
Really, but you know what? On the sidelines, you know these defenders, if Jacoby Brissett decides to go feet first, he doesn't want to be that guy to get a penalty and add something onto it. You want to touch him. You think those quarterbacks are all going to go down, and Brissett crossed him up by kind of keeping his feet and getting an extra 5 yards out of it.
It's different when a quarterback decides to run. Sometimes guys naturally pull off.
After a gain of 15, they give it to Mack.
Yeah, I think that's a function of the present-day NFL.
Boy, Clowney lost his hat, and he and Daniels are jawing. Marcus Gilchrist made the tackle after the run by Marlon Mack.
Well, yeah, that's illegal hands to the face, and
Sure is.
That's a bad look. Daryl Daniels.
Texans use a timeout. Clowney puts his hat back on. Little John going on. We'll be back. 4:15 to play here in the fourth quarter. Indianapolis hanging on to a 6-point lead. Indianapolis has outgained Houston 149-17 in yardage in this half. And Gore plunges down close to the 32 at a timeout called by Bill O'Brien. All right, so this is the projected draft order. Cleveland has the #1 pick, that's assured. New York is #2. Indianapolis and then the Texans pick, which is right now Cleveland's, where the Cleveland Browns sit with the 4th pick overall. That could change with the outcome of this game.
Yeah, it could. That pick for Cleveland could be as high as #3,
right,
or as low as #5.
Yeah. So if you're the Browns, I mean, you're thinking, you know, for the Colts, keep winning, because then we have it makes the decision a little different. Maybe not much, but a little different. That's what these teams are playing for at this point of the final day of the regular season. Bill O'Brien's team's down to 1 timeout.
Should see another run with Frank Gore, I would think, here.
Hey, kill!
Clowney thought the Colts had moved. It is Frank Gore again, and Gore trying to get to the outside hitters. He's got the first down and more inside the 25 and spun to the 23. And Brissett says, keep moving the clock.
And Bill O'Brien will take his timeout.
So Bill O'Brien uses his final timeout with 3:59 to play. We'll take a timeout as well. The Colts on top by 6. We'll be back in 30 seconds after this. Well, if there are desperate times in the final game of the regular season when you're 4-11, that's what the Texans and Bill O'Brien are facing now. They've used all 3 of their timeouts on this drive. They want the ball back. Chuck Pagano, his team, happy that they were able to keep the clock moving, and they've got another first down to work with here. Chuck did tell us, he said, you know, and I know a lot of times this is coach speak, we don't want to finish in the basement. You know, we want to keep this thing moving, finish on a good note.
You're 19! You're done!
It's Gore again. And Gore down to the 21-yard line, a gain of 2. He's at 90 yards rushing here this afternoon.
Yeah, he also said, envisioning if the Colts did move on away from him and thank him for his services and fire him, he's still looking forward to coaching.
Yeah.
Now he said, I get back to the coordinator slot. I mean, I'd love to get back in the nuts and bolts of everything because, as a head coach, you're more of an executive, more of a leader than a nuts and bolts guy, although the coaches are always informed about what's going on. He misses, I think, a little bit that grind of being down there in the trenches with the players and week in, week out.
19, done.
Gore again on second down. Just trying to run the clock. Gore getting to the outside. Brissett even out there trying to lay a block down to the 12-yard line. Deku makes the tackle for the Texans.
Well, Jacoby, you watch Brissett. He follows Franco. He wants to make sure he's there for ball security more than anything. And he ends up trying to be an ally as a blocker, but he's really following the play just in case that ball pops out.
Yeah, he's telling him to stay in bounds as well.
Well, that's a 100-yard game for Frank Gore. It's his second one of the season. He's now passed O.J. Simpson for 16th most 100-yard rushing games in NFL history. And he'll take a breather. Marlon Mack checks in.
19, done.
And Mack this time will take the run to the 5, gain of 7. Now that should take us to the 2-minute warning, and the Colts really have adjusted well in the second half.
Yeah, you have to tip your hat to the coaching staff for the Colts. Chuck Pagano come in at halftime, Rob Chudzinski, the offensive coordinator, and Ted Monachino, the defensive coordinator. They did a great job getting this team ready to come out in the second half.
Well, we have reached the 2-minute warning here in the fourth quarter. Colts on top by 6, knocking at the door.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Bud Light, brewed to be enjoyed responsibly. And by Nationwide. Nationwide is on your side.
We've got bonus coverage coming up between the Steelers and the Browns. The Browns are trying to win their first game of the year. They're down by 4. Pittsburgh, if they win and New England loses, now New England's leading in its game against the Jets, they would have home field, but it looks like they're going to be the 2 seed. But we'll have bonus coverage coming up.
New England comfortably ahead.
Yep.
So I don't think that's going to be an option for Pittsburgh.
How about this? A little victory formation on second down and goal from the 6-yard line for the Colts. Brissett takes a knee. Texans cannot stop the clock. I thought maybe they would give it to Gore one more time to see if he can get his 78th rushing touchdown of his career. He has 111 total yards.
But think about the respect. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Think about the respect between Chuck Pagano and
there's
Bill
a lot
O'Brien.
of that.
So Chuck Pagano's not going to rub it in his face.
But they probably will kick the 3 because they're not going to be able to run the clock completely out.
Look at Bill O'Brien's frustration today. There is a lot of respect between these two guys. They said it in their conference calls this week leading up to this game. Brissett, as the clock winds, under a minute 20 to play, will take a knee. Both of these two coaches obviously on the hot seat going into this final game. How about Bill O'Brien? His 4 seasons, 31 wins. What he has said about Chuck Pagano. He said Chuck Pagano is really one of the best guys I've met in football, both on and off the field. What he has done in Indianapolis is outstanding. And meanwhile, Pagano has said of O'Brien, I know Bill's going to have his team prepared to play the same way today coming into this game as he would any other game. He has great perspective because his career has been so good. He said, I have a ton of respect for him, not only as a head coach, but just as a coach overall.
And he pointed out also talking about what this Texans team was doing prior to all the injuries. He said they were humming. They were playing with anybody. They could play with anybody in the league prior to those injuries.
Well, Andrew Luck back today to watch his team. He's been gone since the 2nd of November when he was put on IR. And now Adam Vinatieri will come on to attempt a field goal with 35 seconds left. Frank Gore, 111 yards, total yards today. He is over 1,200 total yards for the season for the 12th consecutive year. That is an NFL record. And here's Vinatieri. This will be a 26-yard field goal attempt. And we got movement. Jonathan Joseph, he just wanted to hear the boos one more time. So they'll move it up. And this will now be a 22-yard field goal attempt. Sanchez the holder. With 35 seconds to play on 4th down, Vinatieri on a 22-yard field goal attempt, and it is good. It's 22-13. The Colts lead is at 9, and Chuck Pagano's team is going to hand him a victory in what might be his final game as the head coach of the Indianapolis Colts. There's some banners that are up on the Raptors here that are part of his legacy here in Indianapolis. He said, I'll take Chuck Strong. They can never take Chuck Strong away from me. That will always be in my heart. And that was the motto when Chuck was battling cancer, when he was the head coach of the Colts and Bruce Arians took over for him.
Yeah, it's, that you talk about these two coaches and where the road might lead them after today. And, and we've said it earlier in the broadcast, it's what these guys sign up for. And I've always said that being a coach in the NFL or at any other level, it's really not a job. It's really not a career. It's a lifestyle. It's who they are. And some days, on days like this for Bill O'Brien, it's no fun.
No.
And you take it hard. But when you can win, and when you get a group of guys that win together, there is nothing like it. And that is why they do it. Because those moments when things do go well, you cannot replicate any other way.
Thompson deep in the end zone, 6 yards deep, will take a knee. Don't forget, bonus coverage coming up between Cleveland and Pittsburgh. 5.5 minutes to play in that game. Steelers trying to win their 13th game. They've got the bye in the AFC playoffs. New England looks like it's going to have home field advantage, the top seed in the AFC playoffs. Pittsburgh will be number 2. And that bye, everybody can use the bye at this point in the season.
That's what you play for.
Yep.
That's one of the goals going into the season. You want to be able to host a playoff game in your stadium.
TJ Yates out of the gun with 31 seconds left. Slings it to the near side, incomplete, intended for Chuck Pagano. He just kicked it. And by the way, this has been our first year together, and you guys have been unbelievable. Steve Tasker, Steve Berline, our producer Scott Brandwine, our director Chris Svensson. This has been a fun year, particularly these last several weeks of the NFL season.
Yeah, we've had a lot of fun and look forward to hopefully many more days together to come.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it was great. You need more popcorn in the booth, though. That's all I can say. It has been fun, and we've seen some good football and met a lot of great guys on both these teams and other teams as well. It's been fun working with you guys.
On 2nd down, Yates dumps it off. Blues got it. He's got a 1st down and then fumbled the football, but he was down by contact up to the 36. And that's probably going to be it. TJ Yates is trying to get things going.
He wants one more play.
Yeah, he does. They haven't had many passing yards in the second half, but they did get 11 there. Final play of the season for the Texans and the Colts. TJ Yates rolling out, trying to get some separation, and he'll let it fly, and it's intercepted on the near side of the football field. Quincy Wilson is going to take it inside Houston territory, and he's going to take these two teams into the offseason. But first, a little lateral. The Colts don't want the year to end, but it finally does. Nate Hairston falls to the ground. The final score, it's the Colts 22, the Texans 13. Coming up next, it's game 2 of our doubleheader with the Ravens, Titans, Bills, and Chargers all fighting for playoff spots. So for Steve Berline and Steve Tasker, this is Tom McCarthy saying so long from Indianapolis. Now it's time for the NFL Today update. Let's go to James Brown in New York.